Today, my message title is Jesus is God's final word. Hebrews chapter 1 verse 2. But in these last days, He has spoken to us by His Son. As the Messiah, Jesus has three offices: prophet, priest, king. As a prophet, Jesus speaks God's word to people. As priest, Jesus intercedes for people with God. As king, Jesus rules with peace, love, and justice. The book of Hebrews uniquely emphasizes Jesus' priesthood. Why is it so important for us to know and understand Jesus' priesthood? It is the key to an intimate relationship with God, which can be a source of real strength to us. We are living in a world influenced by Islam, Eastern religion, psychology, and atheism, among other things. We are bombarded by so many different ideas every day that we can easily become confused. Christian values, justice, compassion, generosity, trust are diminishing rapidly. It is not easy to stand firm with a distinctive Christian identity and live a gospel-centered life. In order to do so, we need to know who Jesus really is. This knowledge is not just information. It transforms us and empowers us to live by the gospel truth. In addition to outer challenges, we also face challenges from within, such as strong and sweet temptations through the internet and social media. We are weak due to our sinful nature and can easily be entangled by it. Then we become prostrated and depressed. We can begin to drift away and shrink back. Through the study of Hebrews, let's come to Jesus, have a distinctive Christian identity, and find the grace and mercy and strength we need. In Hebrews 1, verse 1 through 3, without introduction or greeting, the author tells us who Jesus is. Then in the rest of the book, the author declares Jesus' superiority to angels, Moses and Levitical priest, and the temple sacrifice. He exhorts us to fix our eyes on Jesus, who is our great high priest, and to live by faith in Him. In today's passage, we learn that Jesus is God's final word, Jesus' identity and works, and that Jesus is superior to angels. First, Jesus is God's full and final revelation. Verses 1 to tells us how God has spoken to us in the past. In the past, God spoke to our ancestors through the prophet and many times and in many various ways. But in these last days, He has spoken to us by His Son. This is a sweeping view of God's redemptive history, which emphasizes God spoke to His chosen people through His words. God gives general revelation of Himself to all people through nature, providence, and conscience. But these are not sufficient for salvation. God gives special revelation through His words. If God remained silent, the flight of mankind would have been desperate. But now He has spoken, revealing, redeeming, and life-giving words. Through His words, we see the light of salvation. God's word came to mankind in two stages. First, they were given to Jewish ancestors through the prophets. Finally, they were given fully and completely through His Son, Jesus Christ. After the fall, God began to reveal His salvation plan in a primitive way to Adam, prophesying the destruction of Satan through the offspring of a woman. When mankind was utterly corrupted by sin, God made a covenant with Noah and revealed His judgment through the flood, as well as salvation through the ark. Then God chose Abraham and gave him a covenant promise to bless him and all nations on earth through his offspring. This promise was handed down to Isaac, then Jacob, and then Judah and his descendants, among whom was David. Through Moses, God presented a prototype of salvation. God delivered the Israelites from bondage in Egypt through the blood of the Lamb. This represented delivering people from the power of sin and Satan through the blood of Christ. God established the tabernacle, the priesthood, and sacrificial system so that simple mankind could approach the holy God for the forgiveness of sins and restoration of fellowship. These all pointed to Jesus, who is the temple, the high priest, the perfect sacrifice. To David, God promised that one of his descendants would be eternal king, who would reign over his people with love, peace, and justice. Afterwards, God revealed his words through the prophet, such as Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, and others, especially through Isaiah. The coming of the Messiah, His birth, His character, His suffering, death, and resurrection, and His reign were foretold in precise detail. In this way, God spoke through the prophet about His salvation plan, and many times and in various ways. God revealed Himself through dreams, visions, signs, and miracles, and angels' messages. This divine revelation is genuine but incomplete. This revelation is progressive and it points to Jesus. God gave the full and final revelation through His Son. Jesus fulfills all the revelation given in the Old Testament. Without Him, the Old Testament revelation is partial, preparatory, and fragmentary. But in Christ, God spoke fully, decisively, finally, and perfectly. Isaiah expounded the nature of God as holy, righteous, and merciful, but Christ manifested it. Jeremiah described the power of God, but Christ displayed it. Ezekiel portrayed the glory of God, but Christ reflected it. Daniel prophesied God's coming kingdom, but Christ revealed it. Jesus' coming inaugurated a new era, which can be compared to the dawn of the new day. The sun approaches the dark world, and its rays begin to illuminate it. Soon it radiates powerfully over the whole landscape, and the thick darkness disappears. Now we don't need any more revelation. Jesus, God in the flesh, came into the world and revealed God fully. God continues to speak the message of salvation through His Son to the present moment. God's salvation comes through Jesus, and only Jesus. There is no other name under heaven given to us that can save us. That is the why we must listen to Jesus as of first importance. Second, Jesus' identity and his word. Who is Jesus, whom we must listen to? He also describes who Jesus is and what he has done in several aspects. First aspect, Jesus is the heir of all things. Jesus' Son was appointed as the heir of the Father God. A son is different from a servant. A servant through his excellence and works hard can never become an heir. However, a son inherits his father's estate on the basis of his sonship. As the Son of God, Jesus is the heir of all that God has made. When we believe in Jesus, we become co-heirs with Christ. Second aspect, Jesus is the creator of the universe. Verse 2 says, through whom also he made the universe. It was through Jesus that God made the universe. Colossians 1:16 says, in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or power or rulers or authorities, and all things have been created through him and for him. These days, many people think the universe and their lives are random accidents without meaning. Yet they cannot avoid the inner cry of the human heart. Who am I? Why do I live? Where did I come from? Where am I going? They suffer from meaninglessness, loneliness, disorientation, and despair. But when we believe that Jesus created the universe, including our lives, we find meaning and purpose in all that God has made. We can see the harmony in God's world and find our place in His creation. Having a clear identity as God's people, our lives can be beautiful and very fruitful. Third aspect, Jesus is the radiance of God's glory. To the Hebrew people, God's glory was an outward and visible expression of majesty of the presence of God. When the law was given at Mount Sinai, the glory of the Lord settled on the mountain. This same glory has been seen in the person of Christ, who radiates God's glory. Apostle Paul explained that God lives in unapproachable light, whom no one has seen or can be. We cannot look into the sun directly, or we will go blind. Likewise, we cannot see God. If we see God, we will die. Some people say, show me God and I will believe. They do not realize they will die. However, as we can enjoy the light and warmth of the sun as God intended, so we can enjoy God's light through Jesus, who is the radiance of God's glory. Jesus said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Fourth aspect,